Rainwater runs down neon lights outside the Bangkok arena. Crowds shove toward the entrance gates. A bloodied fighter is dragged into the street. Bruce Lee steps from a taxi. A coach grabs his shoulder, spins him off balance. Above the doorway, a red digital clock flashes. 2 minutes to the next fight. Behind Bruce, steel gates slide shut. Locked, another man steps in behind him. Blocking escape, inside heat and noise slam into him. A challenger crashes onto the canvas. The undefeated champion waits for the next victim. Officials scan the crowd, then point at Bruce. And later, men who witnessed that moment would say, the fight was decided before he even stepped inside. Wait, why was the exit already closed? Rainwater drips from the arena roof. As Bruce Lee steps inside, still adjusting to the sudden heat when a large handler grips his arm, pulling him forward, his shoulder twisting sharply as he nearly loses balance in the pushing crowd. For a moment he thinks the man has mistaken him for someone else, but the grip tightens. The handler shouts something in Thai toward officials near the ring. Bruce exhales slowly, does not resist. From the stands, spectators only see another foreign kid being dragged closer to trouble, and laughter rises from several rows where gamblers already predict how quickly the next challenger will fall. Above the ring, a digital clock resets. 3 minutes per round. 3 rounds. The undefeated champion waits, arms resting on the ropes, barely breathing hard after finishing the last opponent. Medics still help the injured fighter toward the exit tunnel, his legs refusing to cooperate. The smell of sweat, oil, and cigarette smoke hangs heavy. Bruce studies everything. The distance to the ropes, the canvas condition, the way the champion shifts weight even while resting. Small details, important details. A shove from behind forces him closer to the aisle. The handler points directly at him. The referee looks over, raises his hand. The crowd notices. A murmur spreads. From a balcony seat, a young fighter watching his first professional match later remembers the exact moment the arena atmosphere changed. Excitement turns into expectation. They believe another easy finish is coming. Bruce steps forward quietly. No anger, no hesitation, only awareness. The champion glances at him, sees a thin teenager. Nothing threatening. She rolls her shoulders, preparing to end the interruption quickly. Bruce climbs through the ropes without ceremony. The canvas feels warm beneath his bare feet. He hears betting numbers shouted behind him. Someone yells for a knockout. Someone else laughs. For a brief second, Bruce looks toward the entrance tunnel. The steel gate there remains closed. No easy exit now. Silence hangs between them. Then the referee steps in, hands raised, the bell about to ring. And Bruce realizes danger is no longer approaching. It is already here. The bell rings, and the sound snaps through the arena like a command. The champion moves first, not rushed, not reckless, just certain. Her front kick shoots toward Bruce's chest, testing distance the way she has done in dozens of fights before. Bruce shifts slightly offline. The kick brushes past him. The crowd barely reacts. They have seen challengers survive the first seconds before. It never lasts. From the audience seats, people lean forward comfortably, expecting the familiar ending. Money has already changed hands. Some spectators barely watch now, confident the stranger will soon collapse like the others. The champion steps in again, arms rising for a clinch. Her strength here is famous. Once she locks the neck, fights end quickly. Bruce's forearms slide upward, redirecting her grip before it settles. Not force, just angle. She tries again. Same result. Hands finding air instead of control. A few confused murmurs spread through the lower rows. Bruce keeps his breathing calm. Watching, learning. She adjusts, irritation beginning to show. A sharp elbow cuts toward his head. Bruce leans just enough. The strike whistles past his temple. Still, he does not counter. The crowd grows louder, frustrated by caution. They want violence, not patience. From ringside, an older trainer later tells reporters he noticed something unusual. Most challengers panic under pressure. This one seemed to be measuring danger instead of fearing it. The champion steps forward with heavier intent now. A knee drives into Bruce's thigh. Solid impact. Pain shoots upward. His leg buckles slightly. Cheers explode across the arena. They think the end is coming. Bruce absorbs the shock, steadying himself before falling. His stance narrows, guard tightens, eyes remain clear. The champion senses momentum. presses forward again. Punches sharper, closer now. But Bruce slips sideways, refusing to be cornered. The clock overhead shows 2 minutes remaining, and for the first time tonight, the undefeated fighter realizes something unexpected. This opponent is still standing. The champion circles slowly now, studying Bruce with sharper attention. Her confidence is not arrogance. It is history. Years of training since childhood. Dozens of victories earned through discipline, sacrifice, and pain most people in the audience could never imagine enduring. From the crowd's sup's view, she represents certainty. Bruce represents interruption. She steps in again, faster this time. A jab snaps toward his face. Bruce slips outside the line. A cross follows. He absorbs it along his forearm. Then her knee rises sharply toward his ribs. Bruce steps inward at the same instant, closing distance where the strike loses power. Their bodies collide chest to chest. The audience gasps at the sudden closeness. Bruce places a palm lightly against her shoulder, guides her sideways. Just enough. She stumbles 2 steps, not falling, but losing balance. The arena noise dips in confusion. From high in the seats, one spectator later says that moment felt wrong, like watching something impossible happen in slow motion. The champion regains footing quickly. Annoyance flashes in her eyes. No one does this to her. Not here. Not in front of her people. She advances again, sharper now. Punch. Kick. Elbow. Bruce blocks, shifts, absorbs, but one elbow slips through. The edge of her forearm scrapes his brow. Skin splits. Blood runs into his eye. The crowd erupts. First blood. Momentum swings instantly. She smells opportunity and drives forward, determined to end the fight. Bruce blinks through red blur, steps backward, nearly loses balance. The ropes brush his back. From the stands, cheers rise. They expect collapse any second. But Bruce steadies himself, breath controlled, eyes focused again. The bell rings, ending the round. The champion walks calmly to her corner, irritation hidden beneath discipline. Across the ring, Bruce stands alone, blood tracing down his cheek. No stool, no advice, just silence. The clock resets above them, and everyone believes round 2 will finish what round 1 started. The bell rings for round 2, and the champion storms forward before the echo fades. No patience now, no testing. She attacks in sudden bursts, abandoning combinations and throwing single strikes without warning. Elbows from strange angles, knees without setup, movements designed to break rhythm. Bruce Sip's guard tightens. From the audience seats, the fight suddenly looks messy, brutal. No longer technical, just survival inside chaos. An elbow slices across Bruce Sip's brow. A thin line of blood opens above his eye. The crowd explodes. First blood. The champion presses forward, instinct sharpening. Fighters learn early that blood changes everything. Opponents panic. Vision blurs. Decisions slow. She smells advantage. A knee crashes toward Bruce Sip's body again. This time it lands cleaner. His breath escapes sharply. He stumbles back, nearly falls. Gasps ripple through the arena. From a ringside table, a promoter later admits he was already signaling for medics, convinced the fight was seconds from ending. Bruce Sip's back touches the ropes. Pressure everywhere. The champion advances to finish. But something unexpected happens. The referee suddenly steps between them. Whistle shrieking. Confusion spreads through the crowd. Officials argue at ringside. A rule dispute. Someone claims Bruce entered without proper registration. Without signed waiver clearance, officials debate stopping the match entirely. Bruce rained down. Gamblers scream. Money rides on this fight now. The champion paces impatiently, sweat dripping from her chin. Bruce wipes blood from his eye. Silence stretches. Then the announcer declares a sudden change. Only 1 round remains. Winner decided by dominance, not knockout. Shock hits the crowd. From the stands, viewers feel tension spike. Everything now compresses into minutes. No time to recover. No time to think. The fight restarts, and the champion charges with renewed urgency. Bruce blocks 2 punches, but fatigue shows now. A heavy kick slams into his ribs. Pain flashes across his face. He drops to one knee. The arena erupts. This is it. His hand touches the canvas. For a heartbeat, defeat stands inches away, and the undefeated champion steps forward to end it. For a moment, the arena believes it is over. Bruce's knee remains on the canvas, one hand pressed flat against the mat as he tries to pull air back into his lungs. Pain spreads through his ribs where the kick landed, every breath sharp and shallow. The referee leans closer, ready to stop the match if Bruce cannot stand. From the crowd's view, relief mixes with excitement. This feels familiar again. Outsiders come, outsiders fall, order restored. The champion steps back slightly, giving space. Not cruel, just certain. She has seen this ending many times. Young fighters thinking heart alone can survive professional punishment. Above them, the timer burns down. 90 seconds left. The crowd begins counting loudly, sensing the finish. But Bruce does not look at the referee. He looks at her, then slowly pushes off the canvas. Rises, not steady, but standing. A quiet murmur replaces cheers. Something stubborn refuses to let him fall. Bruce lifts his hands again. The champion attacks instantly, unwilling to waste the chance. Punch. Blocked. Low kick. Absorbed. Elbow swinging toward his jaw. Bruce twists just enough. The strike grazes his shoulder instead. From ringside, one veteran trainer later says Bruce's movement changed here. Smaller, tighter. No wasted motion left. The champion presses harder, sensing hesitation. Their feet tangle briefly. Bruce slips. Nearly falls again. Gasps ripple through the arena. Humiliation inches closer. But instead of retreating, Bruce steps forward, chest to chest, smothering her power. The crowd falls confusedly silent. She reaches for the clinch. Bruce's forearms slide inside her grip. Redirect. Control. No struggle, just position. For the first time tonight, uncertainty flickers across her face. The timer shows 60 seconds remaining, and Bruce finally recognizes the opening. The fight is about to change. Bruce feels the hesitation before he fully sees it. A slight delay in her shoulders, a fraction late on her step. To the crowd, nothing changes. Inside the exchange, everything does. She drives a knee upward again, trying to break his balance one last time. Bruce shifts across her center line, instead of backward. The strike passes beside him. His forearm guides her momentum away. At the same time, his other hand presses lightly against her collarbone. Not a strike, a direction change. She stumbles forward. The crowd waits for Bruce to attack. He does not. He steps back instead. Confusion spreads through the arena. Why isn't Seti finishing? From ringside, gamblers shout angrily, demanding violence. They paid for domination, not restraint. The champion lunges again, frustration now replacing discipline. Punches thrown harder, less precise. Bruce moves calmly between them. A parry, a shift, a small angle change stealing her footing. Then his leg hooks lightly behind hers. Perfect timing. Minimal force, she falls backward onto the canvas. The arena gasps as one. Silence crashes down a second later. For the first time in years, the undefeated champion lies on her back in front of thousands. Bruce does not follow, does not celebrate. He simply steps away, waiting, respectfully. From the audience perspective, humiliation lands heavier than injury. Some spectators look down, others whisper, unsure how to react to what they've witnessed. The referee begins counting. She sits up quickly, stunned more by disbelief than pain. The timer flashes 30 seconds. She rises again, desperation now visible. Charges forward. Bruce sidesteps calmly, guides her past him. Her own momentum carries her into the ropes. The bell rings. Fight over. No knockout. No cruelty. Just control. Bruce lowers his hands slowly, and the crowd, unsure whether to cheer or stay silent, watches the undefeated champion realize something has changed tonight. Not her strength, but her certainty. For several seconds after the bell, no one speaks. The arena, which only moments earlier thundered with shouting and betting calls, falls into an uneasy silence that feels heavier than the fight itself. The champion grips the ropes, chest rising and falling, sweat dripping from her chin as she tries to understand what just happened. Not pain, not injury, something deeper, control taken away. Across the ring, Bruce wipes blood from his eyebrow with the back of his hand and bows slightly toward her. No celebration, no triumph, only respect. From the audience seats, whispers begin spreading in confused waves. She didn't set lose, but she couldn't set win. She couldn't set control him. Gamblers recount exchanges. Voices quieter now as money changes hands without excitement. Victory without destruction feels unfamiliar here. The champion finally steps away from the ropes and walks toward Bruce, each step heavier than before. Thousands watch closely, expecting anger, excuses, or confrontation. Instead, she stops in front of him. Silence stretches. Her shoulders rise as she takes one breath. Then she bows her head, not to the crowd, to him. A ripple of surprise moves through the arena. From the upper balcony, a young fighter attending his first professional event later says this was the moment he understood fighting was not only about hurting someone, but about understanding them. Bruce bows back, calm, unchanged. The referee raises Bruce's hand automatically, but applause comes slowly, uncertain, as spectators struggle to process what they witnessed. Because humiliation tonight was not physical. It was psychological. Her dominance met something it could not break. Her trainer climbs into the ring and drapes a towel across her shoulders. He says nothing, only nodding slightly, knowing a lesson more important than victory was delivered. Bruce steps through the ropes quietly. No cameras, no reporters, just another unknown fighter leaving the spotlight. But inside the arena, something invisible shifts. As the crowd begins to leave, one elderly coach remains seated, watching the champion stare silently at the canvas where her certainty disappeared. Years later, he will tell students this was the night fighters here learned. Control could defeat power, and that lesson stayed longer than any knockout. By midnight, the arena begins to empty. Workers mop sweat and blood from the canvas while vendors count remaining coins under dim hallway lights. Outside, traffic swallows the departing crowd, and Bangkok returns to its usual restless rhythm as if nothing unusual happened. But inside smaller circles, the story already begins to travel. A gambler tells friends about the foreign teenager who refused to panic even when blood blurred his vision. A young trainee repeats how the champion was made to stumble without being hurt. A referee later admits he has never seen a fighter control distance that calmly under pressure, and each retelling grows quieter, more respectful. Because everyone present understands something rare occurred. Not a knockout, not humiliation, a lesson. Before sunrise, the undefeated champion returns to her training camp. No reporters, no applause, only the steady hum of ceiling fans, pushing warm air across the empty ring. Her trainer waits silently. She bows, steps inside, begins drilling footwork. Again and again, not power, not aggression, angle, balance, position, techniques she once dismissed as unnecessary. From the doorway, a younger fighter watches, confused at first. Years later, he will tell students that morning changed how their entire camp trained. Across the city, Bruce prepares to leave Bangkok. His ribs ache when he breathes too deeply. The cut above his eye throbs beneath fresh tape. A dock worker helping load cargo later remembers the quiet young man standing alone at the railing, watching sunrise spread across the harbor while rolling his shoulders slowly, replaying movements inside his mind. Bruce is not celebrating. He is studying, learning what worked, learning what almost failed, because even victory revealed how close defeat truly stood. Weeks later, fighters across gyms begin discussing the match. Quietly, some dismiss it as rumor. Others swear they witnessed it themselves. In training camps, coaches start teaching distance control alongside power drills. Young fighters learn patience before aggression. The undefeated champion continues winning fights. But something has changed. She moves differently now. More precise, less reckless. Opponents struggle to predict her timing. And when asked about the stranger who fought her that night, she answers simply, "He showed me something important." Bruce's own journey continues. New cities, new challenges, new opponents. But pieces of that Bangkok fight remain in his evolving philosophy. Adapt, observe, control without cruelty. Years pass, the arena changes ownership, seats replaced, walls repainted. But older trainers still point toward the ring when telling stories to young fighters. They speak of a night when violence stopped short of destruction, when dominance met understanding, and respect won instead. One spectator who attended as a teenager later becomes a coach himself. Whenever students chase quick victories, he stops them, tells them about the foreign boy who stepped into danger calmly and left without humiliating anyone. Strength, he says, is knowing when not to break someone. The story spreads slowly, not through newspapers, not through official records, through memory, through whispers, through fighters passing lessons forward. And that is how the night survives, not as spectacle, but as influence. Long after the crowd forgot individual punches, they remembered the feeling, the moment the undefeated fighter realized power alone was not enough. The moment Bruce Lee walked away unchanged, while everyone else carried something new with them. The arena lights shut down, doors close, the city moves on, but somewhere, in another gym, another young fighter hears the story again, and trains differently because of it. That is how legends truly begin. Quietly, without announcement, without cameras, just people remembering the night everything shifted.